All right, folks, welcome on back here this Thursday afternoon, October 8th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Welcome on back, as always, here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Great to see Jerry, who picked up another $1 on the TSM trade. Bonnie, Bill, Greg, Dale, great to see you all. Loud and clear from all. Perfect. Lori, Debbie, John, and Stefan, perfect. And Gene, a pleasure as always. So without further ado, folks, let's hop right into it. I mean, my computer was actually locking up right going into this meeting. So pretty thankful that we're back up and running now. But it's because GameStop got halted. We ended up seeing news come out. It was actually going into 2:30 here. So the news I'm going to copy and paste for anybody joining us inside the trading room just now. But GameStop announces a multi-year strategic partnership with Microsoft, big company. So obviously a big reaction from the market, big pop, and then with that, it's been pulling back a little bit here. So I just want to go over one thing very quickly, folks. You happen to see a yellow line on my screen there from Daniel. He's saying a white screen that he's seeing. Okay, so for all of us inside our live trading room, just allow me probably about 30 seconds. I'll just oh, you said, Daniel, okay now? All right, we're good. All right, we're good. So I was going to say here initially, this yellow line, 1152. Well, when this reopened up off a big halt, well, we ended up seeing this big market on open print. You can see the TradeStation Matrix histogram here showing a big spike at 1152. So nonetheless, when this reopened up, what we like to nickname the opening halt print, it was right there. So I would like to think 1152 in particular is going to act as a major level heading into this afternoon. For me, at least, I would typically say buy the rumor, sell the news. So now that the news is out, we saw the pop, the volume come in. I hope that this continues, but I wouldn't be surprised if this drops pretty hard first, especially with the shaking back under 1152 over the last minute. So for right now, GameStop will easily put on our watch list. That doesn't mean we're going to trade it right off the bat, if really not at all. I mean, if it doesn't really set up for a great opportunity for us to capitalize on, then perhaps there could just be others to watch. But obviously, given the pop, the volume, the recent activity, this will easily make the list for right now. All right, so what else do we have here, guys? We were trading Plug early this morning. We had a pretty good morning altogether. I mean, there was a bunch that we traded, but Plug being, again, one of them. So, much like we ended up seeing from yesterday, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that, and that, and that. I mean, this thing's been a machine on the way up over the last week and a half. So you had to expect at some point this would come back down. It was up early in pre-market. It was pushing up towards a high of 1960, then kind of holding strong around the support you could see from pre-market. It was at 1860, 1850 support. Nonetheless, when the market opened up, this dropped like a rock, and from there it re-broke through a big support, that 1850. Beautiful, beautiful short opportunity on the Plug trade. This was personally my best trade of the day. I was there to catch it from the 1850 support. I covered too early. I got out at 1807, so I took about 40 cents on the trade myself, but ended up dropping off towards a low at the time, 1765, bounced back up nicely from there, and of course pulled back a bit lower for right now. So heading into the afternoon, I wouldn't really mind Plug being on our watch list heading into the afternoon as well. I mean, it's been a very active stock. It is shortable. It's easy to borrow, but for right now, I'd rather just go from top to bottom or through the rest of the other movers that we've called out going into this afternoon. Let's see if there's anything that looks better. All right, so with that, there is one that looks better right off the bat, and it's the JMIA trade pushing up. And this is the one stock I'm in currently, folks. So I always like to tell you, whenever I'm in a trade right now, we were calling the stock out, I mean, really from the mid-morning. I wasn't there to catch it earlier on today. But really quickly, I mean, for as much as this moved up, you got to figure it's going to pull back at some point. So, I waited for this to drop. It broke below big support here at 10. It took its sweet time. And then right here, when it re-broke over 10, I jumped right in. I'm in from 10.02. So I have high hopes on this. I don't want to get greedy or cocky or whatnot, guys. And that, really, I don't mean to come from that standpoint. But look what we've seen JMIA do just across July, right? Even if we can get a tenth of this move up, I'd be extremely content. And not only that, we ended up trading JMIA off an IPO back from, I think it was 2018 at this point. Oh, no, early 19, that is. What was it, March? April. So opened up, took off. So given the range that this had on the way up, then dropped all the way back down. I mean, typically just seeing a stock like this near the highs of the day heading into the afternoon, it would pique my interest already. But this is one that we've seen historically squeeze up for us in the past. So, I have high hopes. Maybe by the end of this meeting, I'll end up getting out. Maybe I'll stay in. We'll see what happens here, at least coming up. I got all my stops set and all of that. I'm not really too worried about that, at least. All right, so with that in mind, though, what we'll do is go from top to bottom. The age stock here, AGE, I did call out before I took a quick profit, but unfortunately, this thing's right back down. So, I'll just go over this briefly, where this ended up re-breaking over resistance at 250. There was actually an iceberg order that got pulled, so I thought that this would make a nice pop. I jumped in. I could have had a little bit more. I closed out with a 7-cent profit. From there, though, came back down. Heading into the afternoon, this trade, not doing it. Not worth watching. Probably going to continue to break down lower, in fact. But at least heading into the market open today to go over this trade at least pretty quickly. Ended up moving up from 8:30 Eastern time when it broke through resistance off 190. From there up towards 2. So heading into the open for a stock that was up as much as this is, or was, I would expect to pull back right at 9:30, and that's what we ended up getting. So, it ended up making the pop, the drop, and then from there, after holding support off of 2, you could see the big squeeze up. It looks like it almost built like a Fausto flag formation, like a chart pattern that we talk about in class, where it made the big squeeze, the pop over resistance off of what appears to be 250. From there, pushed up and up and up. I wasn't there to catch this trade the more it went up, folks, because really going into the open, I thought it was going to pull back a lot more. So kind of like that WWR trade that threw me off earlier in the week, this trade kind of did the same. So it ended up, of course, making a big run. A lot of our students capitalized on this trade. I was able to pick up the 7 cents, at least heading into the early afternoon. And at least for right now, I'm not as likely to put this on our list. All right, let's see. My charts are pretty slow to load here. Give me a quick sec. There we go. All right, so what else did we catch here? I mean, again, we'll just go from top to bottom. The CEI, look at this go. Wow, I was going to say we did not trade CEI this morning, but we're certainly going to try to trade it this afternoon. So very similar to the JMIA trade, guys. You see the daily chart. Now, this stock was not a $250, $350, $550 stock. I don't know what the price it was back in 2019 here, but it was all based off reverse stock splits. That's it. So, nonetheless, either way you cut it, it has a large recovery here, or a large amount of room to try and recover. Right? It's been a long day, so pardon me there. So, nonetheless, CEI pushing up very nicely, at least right now. Looks like there was some volume filled going into that 115. I know it hit a high of 117 and then pulled back. So, maybe if this can make, another pop over 115, we'll see this move up towards the next 5-cent increment, perhaps at 120. It's the type of stock that you could easily trade 4, 5, 6,000 shares on, really. Just know your worth on a stock like this. We're not expecting this to become more and more and more volatile, although it can be, meaning I'm not looking for, 20, 30, 50 cents a pop on this trade. If I can get 5 cents a share on this, kind of like the age trade, I'd be pretty happy with that. All right. Peter from YouTube just asking really quickly, what's happening in Gamestop? So really quickly, if you're tuning in late, guys, Gamestop, we started this meeting off with. It's already on our list. We copied and pasted the news in the chat board for you there on YouTube. Gamestop announces a multi-year strategic partnership with Microsoft. So we know what happens here, right? There's our big pullback. We ended up expecting that to happen, right? I think it will pull back a little bit more even. Look out for 10. Cheapy here, BKYI. Nice pop at pre-market, I guess, or at least leading into the open. The CPSS, this was up big in pre-market. It also is shortable. So, with that in mind, you would think that I'd have more of an interest in this trade right at 9:30. We had too many stocks from our side list and from the main list that looked better, like Plug, Neo, Sorrento, SRNE, PLTR. There's a lot more that we could talk about here. I'm not too familiar with this CPSS trade. So, for as much as this was up, well, it did pull back at the open. Popped, then pulled back after. So this could have been a nice short opportunity. For right now, though, not really doing much of anything here, so we'll pass. ATEC, also easy to borrow. Made a pop at the open and pushing up towards the highs right now. Pretty liquid order book, which I do like seeing. So given that, I'll put this on our list for the meantime. I don't know what the news is on this trade. I'm not going to look right now, at least. But ATEC, I would even say, guys, $9.15. There was a lot of volume filled there, at least throughout the day. You could see that just based on the TradeStation, the histogram here. $9, of course, a whole number, 9.10, 9.15. So if it ends up making a convincing break, perhaps over volume on the ask around 9.15, 9.20, maybe we could see a new run left on this trade. Speaking of runs, really quick, I'm not going to close out right now, although I easily can. You know what? I just don't want to get out and for this to run another 50 cents on me. All right. I just closed out right now, guys. I actually just lost a couple cents just for the spread there. I closed out at 10.46 right here. I'll likely re-enter this trade, but I just saw this from the corner of my eye, JMIA at 10.48, 10.49, so I'll take the money and run. I don't want this to pop, then pull back on me midway through this meeting, and then for me to lose like 20 to 25 cents worth of profit. I'll re-enter that trade, guys, if it gives me the chance to. Now, this one also, Tilray, TLRY. So for all of us inside the trading room, right away, you should know why we're going to put this on our list. If you're new, then allow me just to quickly go through this. So Tilray, I mean, we talked about this, I think it was just yesterday or back on Tuesday, but, IPO back from 2018, we ended up trading this stock pretty much at the start of all of the pot stocks booming and running up. But this stock was, an IPO back in July of 18. It was like $30, $25, whatever. Squeezed all the way up to a high of $300 here, like on the dot, 300. And that's not a reverse split. That's no reverse splits factored in. That's not like a BS price. That was a real run up that we caught. So given that type of squeeze up, you would hope to see perhaps even like a hundredth of that move, once again at some point. So given that, I always like following this stock, at least when the pot stocks are moving. The pot stocks have been moving this week, and today I think they're all moving up. So we'll take a look at the sector. MJ, the marijuana ETF, up 5.5%. Actually, a very active chart for this ETF, which is good for us. So altogether, I think I'm just going to put the pot stocks on our list, guys. I'm going to type them here in the chat board so nobody has to ask me after. Yeah, I know we always get that. Those are the three that I'm most interested. Actually, four. Those are the four that I'm most interested in. I typed them there in the chat board: Tilray, Canopy Growth, APHA, and ACB. All right, so pot stocks all together. I'm just going to kind of label there on our list. All right, so what else do we have here, folks? CRDF was moving up towards the highs, actually breaking a new high heading into the afternoon. Kind of lost a lot of that momentum, perhaps, but right now it's still fairly active. Actually, with that in mind, I want to jump back. I actually retract that. The volume really died off, and I could tell that, guys, really quick. Like when I do these meetings, this is a number I'll focus on frequently. This white number here. This is the average volume per minute over the last 20 minutes worth of time. So, it's kind of lagging in a sense, but just a very sharp drop off even after 2 o'clock Eastern with the big pullback here. So CRDF, very interesting stock. I don't mind, slipping this on our list, but I'd rather go through everything else first. Carve, U1. We ended up seeing a few stocks squeeze up earlier on today. U1 not doing as much now. All right, I'm not as keen to put these on our list here for the afternoon. Great trades from earlier today. There's our ACB, Aurora Cannabis, taken off. It's actually my first look at this the whole day. I was really interested in this trade. It was a couple days back, I believe, when I was doing this meeting, and it was with just Tilray and all of them moving up. Unfortunately, I didn't get the move then, but very similar. Look how much ACB dropped off over the last year and a half or so, and reverse splits were factored in with that. But look what happened even going back into June here, right? The news came out, a huge squeeze up. Of course, it dumped back down, so got to be careful. But man, even if we can get a fraction of that move, that's all I'm looking for. All right, Tilray just broke over the high of the day off 630. Norman wrote that there in the chat board. Yep. They're all on the gainers list. You see them. CGC, APHA, ACB. Just hit them all already. Ooh, Endo Pharmaceutical up 10.5+%. Pretty slow. All right, we'll hop over to the losers list for right now, guys. See if there's anything looking just as good, if not better. CYTK, not doing it here for me. And otherwise, honestly, and again, it's like lazy for me to say, it seems like, but I could just tell there's just all of this is hard to borrow. We can't short it, and they're not down enough to the point where we could try and expect a dead cat bounce. There's only select few that I'd really be interested in just looking at, like PPSI, very volatile stock from this week. Sun W, we already called that out, I think, from earlier today, though, just dumping back down still. PLL. Yeah, pass on all of these for right now, guys. Oh, look at this, Gevo. I had this on my gainers side this morning. It was on the gainers list going into the market open, no? It's down 13 or 10% right now, though. Damn. Just took a huge hit. Moved up nicely yesterday for us. Alrighty, folks. Let me know if there's anything else that you would want me to look at. Type it here in the chat board. Anything up or down 5% or more, perhaps. I do not have my Benzinga Pro, my signals page open, so I normally would flip right through that. I don't really have that running here. My JMIA trade, that's pushing back up to 1050. It actually pulled back a little bit after I got out, so I'm happy that I did that, but pushing right back up, 1050. It's going to pop it. We're testing it. Is RIG a good stock to watch? RIG. It's a cheapie, right? So, you would think that we wouldn't be as keen to trade a stock below $1. It's on a nice trend later. It's one of those, I think, is it oil stock or is it like one of those like stocks like OPTT? It's one of those like energy stocks, pump and dump-esque. I thought I saw that stock in the past, though. RIG, we've traded that with a couple of other symbols, I thought. Deborah says Exxon is just oil moving up pretty nicely here. Yeah, like stocks like Oxy I'm interested in here. APA, those are trades that we more so have looked at in the past, and that's why I remember RIG now. That makes a lot more sense. So a lot of these, oil stocks are moving up pretty nicely. I mean, hey, they seem just tradable. So in terms of just, the opportunity there later, I mean, maybe later on this week, maybe next week, you could see a big squeeze up on this RIG. So, good to keep in mind. Good stocks to keep on the side list. All right, but I think that we have a pretty good one in here, at least for right now, guys. I mean, all in all, like the pot stocks, those are 4 stocks to begin, and then everything else that will make just about 8. Really, not too big of a list, but not too little. We have a pretty good list heading into this afternoon. Again, let me know if there's anything else here, folks. It's only 2:47, making good use of my time. That age trade's dropping off nicely. Check out CRDF one more time at least, and I guess we'll check out some of the side list stocks too while we're at it. NEO, I'll jump back to plug. The market's super flat. It's been since 2 o'clock, it looks like. Remember, I guess compared to what we had back on Tuesday, it's better that than a completely tanking 500 points. That was like midway through this meeting. That was pretty crazy. Plug again, I mean, if anything, just it's a tradable stock, just not really doing a whole lot here, though, for right now. From Terrence BHC, yeah, it's at the highs. I feel like Fausto would yell at me if I didn't put this on the list, Terrence, right? No, I'm kidding when I say that, but Fausto was calling this out after the market opened today inside our trading room. So, it was a great call from him. And with this at the highs right now, it's hard for me to not put this on here for the meantime. Yeah, great call. I like this one. And then the NEO trade from Norman. Yeah, much like Plug, Norman, NEO, just, tradable stock. If it ends up making a move with the market, perhaps we could follow it. It's like holding under that major support that we were calling out at 2150. So now that it's under that major support, perhaps it's now a major resistance. And at this point, perhaps NEO ends up breaking a bit lower. But everything seems a little slow here for right now, just within the market. So I think for right now, guys, we're just going to call it. We have a good list, at least at this point. So heading into the afternoon, if there's anything else, we'll look to rescan the market probably around 3:15. We don't need to call out any other stocks right now, guys, unless if there's news coming out, unless if there's a GameStop that just makes a ginormous pop like this. If that's the case, and you see a stock make a pop like GameStop, then call it out. But otherwise, let's start with this list, focus on this list here, at least for right now. And then probably around 3:15-ish or so, we'll look to rescan the market a bit more. All right, guys, for anybody tuning in on social media, as always, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. Aside from that, feel more than free to join us. All right, folks, I'll be taking care of us heading into the close, guys. Just give me a quick 5 or 10 minute break, but I'll be right back on the microphone. Take care. I did not mean to, let's see.